All right, well, of the things that I wanted to present, part 1 is over. In part 2, honestly, it doesn't have to be super complicated, especially if you run campaigns based on milestones. Plotting homebrew campaigns is a little easier, because you just say, I'll level them up after they do something in particular. Romonger. Oh, is the whole Illuminati here? I don't think Bobo is here. I'll double check. Hang on. We do have Bobicus. We do have Bubonic one, but we are missing Bobo. I am not seeing hide nor hair of Bobo. I'm double checking by refreshing the list, but though usually if Bobo's here, he'd speak up and say something. Well, it's taking forever for some reason. The avocado are rising up. That kind of sounds like a that kind of sounds like a oh shoot, like a rebel group name, like We Are the Leavened. The Leavened are rising up. The Leavened are rising up. Although, you know, if Barbarian Jim is willing to step in, we do have a Illuminati, as we have Bubonic one, Bobicus, and Barbarian Jim. So he could take the place of Bobo for the evening. Delcorn with the rare Pepe there. Plunders big into his holy wars. The Ovasador for short. In fact, I started one game that you watched. Hang on. In fact, I started one in the game you watched a bit of last night. You started an uprising of people called the Leavened. Yeah, no, you know what, Delcorn? That's fairly close to what we have going on for that. Illuminati confirmed. Well, that's true. If Barbarian Jim wants to step up and take the place, we have another in the Illuminati. Not to be confused with the Ballumin Onion. You all are wonderful. I'm so happy to be able to get to meet you all through this platform. So what I was thinking, what we can do for this week's campaign, right? Every week we make 5 characters, we'll make a map, maybe a dungeon, and we'll talk about whatnot. Well, on Saturday, we get the group together, we do an analysis of the party as PCs. Now we can put on our DM caps, which so far, by the way, no one has guessed the origin of this cap here. All right? The hunt for experience points is still on. If you can find the anime that this is from, and especially if you know the name of the creature here that is on my head. Man, that's kind of sticking up. Romonger, 18 minutes, you have to go to work. Oh wow, 16-hour days. Hopefully they're giving you some overtime. Or are you salaried? You don't have to say. I'm sorry, that was rude. You don't have to say Romonger. That in a casual conversation, right? You know, because I'm with the things that we've been sharing tonight, right? You know, the professions, our closeness that we've come to, different forms of service or mortality or whatever. It's developed a comfortable rapport. And if I was sitting next to you in a bar and we're talking and bringing this up, that would have been a casual question to ask. But no OT, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get to be a salary man. So you know what that means, Romonger? On the day that you're allowed to go out with your coworkers and get drunk, it is culturally appropriate that you can actually diss your boss as long as you've been drinking, and make sure you wear your tie on your head and move it to the side. I'll talk of military medical stuff, and suddenly there's a medevac chopper flying over your house. Nope, King, this is not Card Captor. And, oh, and OP are still having the discussion about the Zentrum and such. I remember those days. Yep, you're a salaryman. KOP says you were such a jewel. To whom is she referring, Dark Wolf? Last time you were in Japan... Oh, yeah. And you know what's very interesting too, Romonger? In the Japanese business culture, if you are presenting a meeting, and maybe you've even encountered this and can confirm it, if you're presenting, and let's say I'm your boss, right? You're across the table from me, and the boss sits at a particular point in a room. There's actually a power structure about where people sit in an office. Anyway, and you're presenting, if I fall asleep during your presentation, that is a compliment to you, because it shows that I trust your wisdom. I mean, that's at least what it's supposed to be, right? But we have different concepts. But if I'm your boss and I fall asleep during your presentation, that is supposed to be a compliment, because I find you to be competent and rational, and that I don't have to pay attention. I just need to be here in case I need to make a decision or something. The city got ported to the plane of Shadow King. Oh, so Bobicus and OP are still talking the talk and walking the walk. Oh, well, that's, Dark Wolf, Kitty had stopped in late in the last session, and she was having an awesome conversation, because we have some martial artists that were in the audience, and so she was getting involved in the discussion that we were having, because we had someone who was studying Shotokan. She was talking, Kitty was talking about her own experiences. We had someone else. It was Arthas, and Arthas does HEMA, or historical European martial arts, and so he was talking about how you rank up in HEMA, and it's not really a belt style that it is for Eastern. Instead, you get measured on a scale of novice to master, depending on the weapon that you're training with. So you can be a novice in... He said he was a master in the flail, but he was still like a novice in another weapon he was trying to pick up. And it was very interesting. And we're talking about medicinal stuff. He actually was spectating at a joust. And as you can expect, when people are charging at each other with wooden beams that break, they broke. And to keep it, if anyone is wincing about that, we'll just say that he said that he lost 60% of his vision in one of his eyes because of just being a part, like just spectating. And you want to talk about medical care and all that other stuff? Woo. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad story. I like you all sharing that stuff like that, but definitely when you hear that, you're like, ooh, wow. People have done have been exposed or had inflicted on them some very interesting things throughout life. And you know what though? He still goes to his HEMA training, and he still is a part of that culture, and he's not letting that stop him. Romonger, senior engineer now, so you don't let people. Okay. Oh, 100. Yeah, I bet. Kore wa watashi no meshi desu. And so they'll hand it towards you. They should hand the business card with you or to you with both their hands and give a slight bow, as they say, "Please take my business card." Kore watashi no meshi desu. That's quite a collection, though, Ro. Okay, that's what you wrote in your notes. So that's part of. Okay. I'm happy to see that exchange. Plus, by the way, OP, when you and Bobicus are talking, or if any of you are talking about this other stuff that I don't know about from a lore point of view, I still pay attention and do try and pick up on that. So you're helping me in that regard too, and I appreciate that. Also, a really good phrase that if you're a senior engineer, you might end up hearing, Romonger, and not have to offer, is "Itsumo osewa ni natte orimasu," which is I'm forever grateful to you. Oh, Delcorin's Google Foo is weak. Yeah, it went to bed. But you know what? So you can tell Kitty that I appreciate her and what she was contributing to our conversation last night, too. And I appreciate you, Dark Wolf, passing along her comment. And please tell Kitty that I appreciate her sentiment as well. That does mean a lot to me. All right. Well, as we're in part 2, and even Google Foo is not... even Google Foo is failing the likes of Delcorin. Are you ready for the answer? Yep, tried looking at soft anime hats and even looked under shopping. Oh. Alright, well here we go. I'm going to spoil it for you. Yep, rip hat EXP. According to KOP, she was watching Criminal Minds last night. She was so scared to go to bed. Yep, she came in, and you know what, Dark Wolf, I told her, look, if that sort of stuff is getting you worked up, instead, I mean, if we're talking about martial arts and being able to turn an attack on itself, I told her, look, use this as experience for your characters. Learn, and don't be afraid of it. Understand it, and use it. And that will be empowering. And she says, quote, peace, peace, love all around the world. Nope, it is not an Etsy hat. It is, it came with this series. This is a Puchu, and it is from Excel Saga. Which, by the way, if you guys like comedy anime, especially if it is making fun of other anime, like it's a referential anime, Excel Saga is amazing. I love it. You'll be rolling. So there you go. Puchus. Puchus from Excel Saga. It may not be able to be purchased on its own, but who knows? Someone might be selling it separately. Oh, yeah, and Plunderloot was getting in on the discussion, too. So, what I was thinking we could do, we don't have to run it like Scooby and the gang here. Though in this style of campaign that we can feature, it would be maybe more episodic. We would have it be kind of one-shots, or at least as milestones go, it might take 2 sessions, but you would hit a milestone of them going somewhere and doing something. You know, kind of like Scooby and the gang going to solve a mystery here. They travel someplace else. You look at Supernatural. Heck, you look at Ninja Turtles. Look at episodic cartoons. Now, ultimately, there is progress, right? We should determine what the ultimate goal of the campaign is, and we can reach it in 4 steps here. Now, why do I say 4 and do we only go to 16? I would imagine that to allow for this band to already be together, for them to reach their archetype, you know, their College of Valor, the Way of the Shadow for the monk and whatnot, that they already have a couple levels under their belts and they came together at some point in time. So this is really starting off at level 4. Romonger, Watashi no Meishi, Watashi wa Onata no Tawagoto o kanji. I don't get the chance to speak Japanese that much, so my kanji game is weak. I'm sorry. Something shimasu. Watashi, oh no, I'm sorry, that's not Meishi. Watashi no, Watashi no seto? Watashi no seto, watashi wa anata no tawa goto o something shimasu. That's what I'm picking up anyway. Am I close, Romonger? Have I lost my edge of my college Japanese lessons? Bobicus, it is Moonspeak, in fact. It's kind of like I don't know if Clark is still in here, but if you were to type out some French, I could do my best to pronounce it. I could certainly recognize the language and try and put the correct emphasis on the proper syllable. King and Plunder. Romonger saying chotto. A bit. Kind of. A little. A non-committal no. A very polite, indirect no. Okay. What would we like to have our band do ultimately? If we want to take them from level 4 to 20, what are they going to do at level 20? Now, they don't even have to save the world. This could just be they become renowned all throughout Mesotopia. That is very much a campaign goal. It doesn't always have to be, you know, killing BBEGs or chasing down MacGuffins or something. It could just be for personal fame and glory. It could be, if we want to have this advance this the side plot of stave off an Imperial invasion. You know, think about, have any of you seen, was it, let me look it up. There we go. Let me get a good image of it here. Have any of you seen Interstella 5555? You know, if you want to talk anime. Interstella 5555 is an anime based off of a Daft Punk album. It's just like an hour-and-a-half long AMV, really. It could almost be like something like that. King says the singer needs to get hooked on something that gives him +3 charisma and mummy rot. Hey, they're out in the desert, right? Become famous and break up for interesting and dramatic reasons. So the goal is to actually reach a breakup point. Are you suggesting, King? They start their own record label and find new bards to take under their collective wing. Yeah, they want to start a musical empire. Story of the Secret Star System. You love that movie. I'm glad, Delcorn. I'm glad you get it. Plunderloot says, Watashi no... motto. Moto. Watashi wa anata no tawagoto o kanyuri o shimasu. Per Google Translate. Oh, motto. Yeah, duh. I've used that katakana often enough when again, I haven't gotten to write my name in not that I need permission, but I haven't spoken or written Japanese in so long. Oh, motto. Yes, watashi no motto wa. My motto is. I remember chilling out and watching it. Then came that too long, and it went on too long. That might have been the point. You're not sure how a guitar spaceship works, but whatever. I could also... Now, this title here is is definitely it is more for mature audiences, because it's a bunch of zombies and you might see some bits here and there in it. Wild Zero, I would suggest watching it, and in fact, if you get the US release on the DVD, it has a drinking game included that will give you the prompts. And it's something like every time fire shoots out of something, and every time Guitar Wolf, every time Guitar Wolf says something, who's the main character? Which, by the way, Guitar Wolf, who is the star here of Guitar Wolf, he did the guitar intro for the original Teen Titans cartoon. If you can ever find the extended opening, he'll show up and you see that he's playing guitar for it. And that's with Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi as well. Anyway, if you want like a Japanese rock band, kind of like a silly, I don't know what you'd call it, like an exploitation film sort of a thing. Like it just takes a trope and it really goes with it. I would recommend Wild Zero. Just be aware that it is not safe for work. So why don't we, I don't know, we can kind of take the ideas that King has thrown out there and, to unite the people within Mesotopia in order to repel the ever-encroaching outside empire, right? Because right now, each of the regions has internal strife. Things are going on. People's attentions are on their day-to-day life, and they're also worried about inside and outside things. And so maybe our ultimate goal here for this party is they want to stand up. They're from different parts of Mesotopia. They want to help get everyone on board in a unified way. Is it everyone? No. I mean, that's not proper marketing. Your target audience is never everyone. But they want to try and unite people within Mesotopia to come together through music and maybe making a buck or two along the way, but in order to repel. And so we have a story based on this ever slowly encroaching threat that has been going on throughout Mesotopia. We've never visited this empire. We've never really given it a lot of detail, yet here we are, drip, drip, drip. We're drip feeding it into our campaigns. Somewhat similar to the Infinity War. How long have we been waiting for this to come to a head, right? Ever since the MCU reboot with Hulk and Iron Man and all that? And look how far it's come. What's it building to? It's a nice slow burn. So for some reason, I got it in my head that Revi's theme song is Metallica, King Nothing. Not necessarily Mesopotamia. It was named Mesotopia. It is supposed to be a Mediterranean-esque setting, and so Meso, being middle, and Topia referring to what it is as a suffix. That is the general name for our region that we've created. Alright, so the kanji are escaping me right now. Though because you're ending the sentence with oyasumi shite, you're telling us good night, kind of like a good night, goodbye. So is part of that nemui, which is sleepy, Romonger? Oh, geez, we're having a... Oh, peace and love. Yeah. Oh shoot. Well, I'm still in the bar music. We need some campaign planning music. We need something maybe contemplative. There we go. The band is having a hard time finding any performance work after an old hero gave his last rock and roll farewell and inspired thousands to seek out bardom. All looks lost until they find a magical substance that lets them write and play better music than anyone else. Unfortunately, the leader of the band starts dabbling in necromancy and is hanging out with the fabled lich Yoko. Where have I heard this story before? Hopefully there's others of you out there chuckling at King's reference. Alright, so Ivalon, we are going to be building an episodic style campaign for the band that we've made together. It doesn't have to be a big, grand story. In fact, if their goal is just, we want to unite people within Mesotopia in order to repel the ever-encroaching outside empire, we can do this on a milestone basis for leveling up. They'll start at level 4, so we'll actually give them 16 milestones over 4 arcs. And then our milestone is simply get to this point where you've accomplished, we as DMs, right? We're plotting as DMs. Let's set the milestones, and it's so much easier to plan a campaign if we know what we're looking for at the end. Because, if we take that all roads lead to Rome, let's establish Rome, and we don't care if people meander, or because they'll end up where we need them anyway. And it allows for a little bit more organic style play. What is the length of one episode? No, it doesn't even have to be 16 sessions. We're just looking for milestones. You might not even hit a milestone in a session. You could do it that way if you want, because every episode could be, look, we'll sit down and we'll do a one-shot episode, and then we can narrate when we come back next week. A month has passed. This is what's changed in the world. So I'm going to drop a piece of information, and now with that, we're going to go on our next episode, and then we'll wait another month or something, or it's something along those lines. We need a definition of an episode before we can decide. So an episode, you could just call it milestone 1 if you want. Since I was saying episodic, I put episode. Even faster leveling. Pardon. Now here we can kind of take the hero's journey and employ aspects of it, right? Where we would start, if we're in Arc 1, this is the hometown area. This is the known world. Arc 2, we leave for the underworld, or this outside world that we do not understand, and that is new. Then we have a learning of, or more of like a coming to terms with both. And then we have our grand return home. So, do we have to name our arcs this? No, but we're using them as mental milestones as we want to produce the events that we would like to occur to have our PCs travel along in order to get to the destination. Ivlon says D&D 5e is actually not good for a hero's journey. Why do you say that? Civil Hermit says a Horde of the Dragon Queen episodes are location oriented, if that makes any sense. As I've not played that, I think I get the concept, but I can't say that I'm familiar with that product to say, oh yeah. Give them a Jar Jar Binks Sith Overlord of the universe. So two of our arcs will take place here in Aslandia, right? This is the hometown. This is where they're starting out. They're starting out at level 4, right? They've already gone through their bardic colleges and they're on their way. They've had the chance to live their backstories, to go sailing and to go run away from home, to to explore that. The party is already together when this is beginning. Babacus, Ivelian, go on. Now, they're in their homeland, and eventually something is going to have to happen that's going to prompt them to leave. You can even come up with almost like a random episode generator, right? Is this going to be a funny episode, a serious episode, a horror episode? I don't know, think like a show like Supernatural. You get a lot of different episodes throughout the course of a season in Supernatural. You get self-referencing episodes. Heck, they even had a Scooby-Doo crossover. Which was funny, actually. I thought that was well done. So, what would we want them to do? Well, they're level 4, right? At their first milestone. This could be their first big gig. So we can open up with them having secured something more than just playing in the local, the Mos Eisley Cantina of Aslandia here. Their first big gig, and we can have some themes of skill challenges. Maybe it's social interaction. And ultimately, is there going to be combat here? Maybe not, unless for some reason you want to plant the seed that there's a rival faction and someone throws a bottle on stage. Does the person dodge out of the way, or does our monk run up and catch the bottle for deflect missiles? Does it have to be a combat straight out? Doesn't have to. In media res does work as a technique, though. I think sitting down with your players and saying you're at the table with the boss of the venue. What questions do you want to ask? That is a great way to allow your players to organically ask information. Like, okay, so what are we doing? What are you expecting? And then I will feed it in character to you as the DM. Yeah, Derek. Yeah, I like that too. Ivlon says, so a couple things on how the hero's journey is that it usually only applies to one character, and it's an arc that changes them through each stage. The problem with graphing in a D&D 5e is D&D is a group game, and therefore each of the 5 bards will hopefully have their own arcs. Plus, it is really hard in D&D to make it feel like the characters are in another world, without going to another plane. The point of the hero's journey is to start in the mundane and come back to the mundane at the end. Whereas in D&D, you're more likely still being in a fantastical world. It doesn't have to be as literally taken, though, Ivalon. If they're starting in their hometown here of Aslandia, leaving the hometown, or even the home region, I don't know, maybe they're playing here in this region, and then they step out, and they've never really experienced even the rest of Aslandia. It doesn't have to be a literal, like, you go from the Shire, and then you go to Mount Doom thousands of miles away, and then you come back. You're still leaving your comfort zone. You're learning about the world outside of it, and then you're coming back to it. As well, as for the arcs and about learning, the campaign can still provide that for the party to interact with each other. It's not solely focused on a single character, but you can provide prompts for the players to learn together. So yes, in a very strict or literal sense, Ivlon, you are correct about really any role-playing game. Unless we're talking like you're running a solo game, you know, like I'm a DM and you're my only player and I'm running for you. We are not going to be taking the hero's journey in the literary and literal sense. We're using it as a model, and we're taking aspects of it to plot a general course about where we would want this to go. Going on a travelogue isn't a hero's journey. I don't see why it couldn't be. It's not just a travelogue. They're still facing, they're overcoming adversity. They will be changed along the way by the things that they learn. That's not the, like, it's, I get where you're coming from, but we don't have to have it be such a narrow or strict definition. Civil Hermit is saying from whatever that stands for, HOTDQ. Milestone 1 when the party leaves behind starting town events. Milestone 2 when the party leaves adventure location. OP says, I would like to disagree in that calling it a mundane state might not be the best way to describe it. I would describe it as the state of rest for the characters. That it is a state of rest. Consider that it was a hero's journey to get to Rivendell. Once he was there, he was at a state of rest, and he had to start back on the journey. And hey, you know what? We are free to have different perspectives, and we are free to disagree, because Ivalon, you're contributing to the conversation, and you're making points, and you're being polite and civil about it. And oh, okay, I'll check it out in a second here, Derek. And that's if we're a bunch of nerds sitting at a table, we're definitely going to have disagreements about stuff. But you all are doing it in such a wonderful way. I'm sure there's plenty of other channels on Twitch that would love to have this kind of civil discourse in their chat rooms. Okay. So this is Derek is doing a character sketch for Revi, who is our swole bard, right? She's the one who's going to roll up on you, and she'll murk you with a sword and shield before she murks you with a bard spell. What's wrong? Oh, wait. So are you doing? Is Revi you're doing as a? Well, yeah. You know, I guess she is right at the cusp of adult going into middle age. I thought maybe you're thinking of Elspeth here, who is definitely the elder elf, but Revi is our monk, our Way of Shadow monk, and she is 1 year away from hitting her middle age. So yeah, she's a spear fighter too. I like that. Which, by the way, I was challenged earlier in the week that on Tuesday. While I do not have proficiency in drawing skills, that I was challenged by Shadzar to draw one of the characters that we made a couple weeks ago, who was a gun monk that we ended up developing, or gun kata, gunplay, gun fu. That was a very interesting build. How we got to that point, and it was all random and organic growth. So, Derek, I will, while I may not be using the digital tools that you are, I will I will be submitting a sketch by the due date on Tuesday for our next week's new campaign, in order to appease the challenge. You prefer storytelling in my RPG characters, though? Yep, I would agree to that, Evelyn. Don't worry, Iv. Me and Bob don't see eye to eye often, but it's a case of without that, we wouldn't be challenged to voice our opinion. Oh, look at that. Yeah, Revi was looking really good, Evelyn. Plunderloot says you made her a dog. Bobicus says, yeah, stories tend to focus on people going through character arcs, but that's not the only way to tell a story, and not every character in a party needs an arc. That is true. Some players just want to sit back and enjoy, you know, like they're there because they want to roll dice and see what everyone else is doing and feel like they're a part of something as a spectator. Oh, actually, Bobicus says that. I gotta read. However, I can neither read nor write. However, most campaigns bank on arcs. You can see as listed about 4 episodes per arc. That doesn't mean that it can't allow for changes. This is just a roadmap. I would not prefer to make a long-term campaign with hard and fast milestones. But they're concepts. What is the concept we want the party to reach in some way, and then we'll move on from there. Bob likes overall arcs. I like razor close personal arcs that attach for an overall. Chopper's flying back over. Oh, so I guess if they sent a medical chopper, that's someone definitely got hurt and needed to be taken to a big metro hospital, right? So for the milestones, because again, does everything have to connect in a grand sweeping epic? We're not talking about The Hobbit. We're not talking about anything like that. The goal of the band is to just go around and become popular and try and unite people and raise the morale of the countryside. That doesn't necessarily have to be a big battle with a dragon or with a pirate lord or something like that. This is, how could we just sit down and have even more of a fun, like a more fun campaign? You know, unless we're taking that, you know, we're the robots and we go no fun allowed, and we're stamping the sign into the, we're stamping the sign into the ground. Oh, geez, Evelyn. Well, hey, you got to feed sometime, right? Yeah. Hubris is a good theme, and you know, if we have kind of what we were talking about, like with Derek and like Bobicus saying that some people want a maybe a bigger arc. I imagine that whoever is going to be playing or piloting Roscoe, we can bring him around, right? We can tell a story of redemption. You know, maybe by the end of the campaign, we bring him around and he's good again. He just starts out as the brooding bad boy of the band, and throughout everything that's happened, you know, he found the spirit of Christmas and his heart grows 3 sizes, like the Grinch. Maybe. Maybe we actually have the fall of someone. Or it's a reversal. You know, here we have sweet and innocent Revy. Right? She's neutral good. No one's above the law. She's confident in her abilities and wants to inspire people. She's the band manager and wants to really try hard. And by the end of the campaign, what if she becomes sad or embittered? And so she swaps to neutral evil, while Roscoe switches to neutral good. Everyone else might just want to be along for the ride, because if I was your DM and I said, hey, I want to get a band together, I'm going to run some episodes, like not one shots, maybe one shots, but not necessarily one shots. I want to run some episodic story pieces. We're going to string them together in a campaign. Are you aboard? You know, can you just gen up a creative bard and come to the table on whatever Tuesday? Then, you know, what's the point and purpose? So we can take meta knowledge of the game into consideration as well. And ultimately, we as DMs now, we're saying, all right, how do we? I want to tell a basic story. I just want them to make everyone feel good, and that's the last boss of the campaign, is public opinion, which is that's a heck of a boss. And also, this is going to relate back to why we did a SWOT report, right? This is going to help us make complications. This is going to help give us challenges. This is also going to help us design, you know, if we want to play to strengths, we should have a lot of skill challenges, maybe some dungeons, random or otherwise, right? We created a random dungeon last night so that they can use their skills. And so it may not be terribly combat heavy, I don't know. What if we say it's arbitrary, 15% combat, and 20%, like traps and other skill stuff, and the rest is role playing, or we could make it heavier in one aspect or the other. But we as DMs are handed this this party character sheet, and now we can plan our milestones around the strengths and weaknesses of what we have going on here. Anything that requires a transfer to a trauma center over 50 minutes driving time away gets flown. Hey, Fanog, welcome. You have done much meditation. I will prove to my God that I'm... Oh, yes. So if you're not familiar, Fanog has found himself as a character in an existential quandary. He needs to prove to his God that he is worthy, even though he's not convinced his God actually recognizes him. So it's kind of a weird relationship. Though, Fanog, please, you can refine my words, obviously, but if you want to continue to share it right over here, you're welcome to. Ivalon, yeah, so this is their first big gig, right? We sit everyone down. I'm playing the boss of the venue, and you all know, your characters know each other, but I can ask you as the boss, oh, so who are you? Like, what do you, oh, you're an elf. You belong here. This is your hometown, isn't it? Well, what about you other four? What are you doing here? Why do you want to perform in Aslandia? And that it's an introductory adventure that is more social, and maybe there's some skill challenges of persuasion, deception, or something along those lines. Boom. We have an introduction. And he might send them on a fetch quest, right? As part of the milestone. All right, I get who you are, who you are. I'll tell you what, though, my stage needs repairs, and I'm a little short-handed. I need you to go out and find someone or buy something or acquire something. And there, I don't know, does one of them get pickpocketed in the market, and then we can have a bit of a combat-esque situation? Sure. But this is what we want to level them up to 5. If they can do this, if they negotiate, if they perform their first big gig, they reach level 5. That's the milestone. No, Ivalon, they're starting at level 4. They know each other. They've just been playing in little bars here and there, and this is them getting their first big gig, which is going to set them on the path to being known throughout Mesotopia. Accidentally stumbles across a slave trader, releases slaves, they come back as roadies to fix things up. Well, Ivalon, as characters, they know who they are. As players, it's a chance for me as the DM and you as the player to put that stuff out there, or to ask me a question in a vacuum that your character should know, but you as its pilot do not. So it's a good warm-up exercise. It's a good warm-up first session, or a couple sessions. But it's a good demo level for the first milestone. I don't know if 4 is really a high level, Ivalon. Because by 4 they all would have had their they all would have reached their archetype, and they would have gotten either their first feat or their first stat bump. But because the premise is they're a band that is already together and has performed together, this is going to give them time to have done so. For some reason, there's a part of me that wants to be a partial troll and tell me to do this with Pony Finder. I'm not familiar with what that is. The book somewhere describes 1 to 3 as tutorial levels. Yeah. Oh yeah, Fanog is kind of like dancing with a macabre relationship with that, an estrangement. Yeah, so again, Bob, because as I threw out there, it's going to depend on the meta information of the group. We're having to draw, we're drawing some presumptions out of thin air, and we're going to make a presentation. Level 5 is when you have all your toys together. See, so boom, you do something simple, you get to use your skills, and there you go. So now that they've performed this, what could be another something that they have that they're exploring their hometown or they're learning more? Maybe here, if we want to set the tone that the war is getting serious, they are approached by envoy from an outer region and asked to play for survivors of an imperial expeditionary attack. Okay, so now they're going to go play at a military hospital. If they're starting out in the big city, this place is developed, lots of fresh water, lots of wealth, lots of trade, lots of elves, and they did very well. And so now you have the governor of Desertlandia out here, right? This region where, look, this governor probably wasn't popular with the overall rulers of Aslandia, and so he was given a station out in the remote frontier. Well, this empire is coming in from the desert because it's open space. And so there's an expeditionary force, and maybe one of his towns was able to repel it, but a lot of people were injured, and it would mean a lot to the people who are out there. Because maybe this envoy was in the concert. They were here to beseech help, and they were rejected by, either rejected or, we'll rubber stamp it, but it takes a couple weeks to rubber stamp things. And so now this band is more mobile than a centralized government of high elves, and they might have more compassion. And so now we can go into themes of travel, survival, and we can even have a combat along the way, right? I don't know, maybe a purple worm, or that might be a little tough for them at level 5. I don't know, maybe some belays or some desert raiders of some kind. And now we have a milestone that has combat because we're mixing it up. Approached by a rival band. Level 5, there should be an arc change because you get all your toys. If you do it every 4 levels, you get ASIs. I mean, we can draw, right, we're talking about a desert. We could draw lines in the sand about that. Oh, you think it should be a battle of the bands? Derek says, I always start at level 1, mostly because those are the foundational points. Yeah, I mean, that's good advice, Derek. I'm not trying to glaze over that. This is a random point at which we're starting, and we're making presumptions and explaining. So if there are newer DMs watching, if there are newer players here, they can take this into consideration and use it as a boundary for their own lines in the sand that they're drawing for their own games. Ravenstar, hello. Sorry, I'm catching up to chat here. Party doesn't want to join until they realize the school is closing down the entire country if they don't get 10,000 gold from somewhere. And that's when they realize the Battle of the Bands. Yeah, it could be something campy like that. The remaining monk. Oh, and I'm sorry, Fnog is continuing. Yep, you got banned because you did not participate, even though it was sort of a morbid violation. Bubonic has a challenge that he wants to throw out. Yep, you're lost because you wanted to do the right thing and you were punished for it, Fnog. So now this is setting our next milestone, and it could take 3 sessions. Who knows? You'll level up after you get to this point. Fnog knows that pain, or Ivlon Fnog is referring to you and says, I know that pain. My characters always die doing the right thing. Hashtag trending. Share, like, subscribe, smash that button for Ivalon. So now they've reached. They're still in the hometown, right? They're still in Aslandia. They know the culture and the people. This is just a different area of it. And so now this is where they could encounter rivals, such as what has been brought up here. Now, is it going to turn into a fight? No, let's plant that seed right now. It's early enough. So one of the goals is we want them to encounter rival band. Investigate what is happening. And so here we can end up having a skill encounter with the rivals. Maybe not a full-out fight. I don't know. If the PC wants to swing, then let them swing. This could turn into a Scott Pilgrim versus the World thing. Maybe the rival band is a bunch of vegans and they have superpowers. Should we set up a loss? Like, are we going to put the rivals at a tier ahead? Or do we want to make it competitive? Do we really want to ensure that they're not going to win and we're going to use that as a rally point? Things to consider. Do we want to set up a loss? Rally and play for the survivors of the attack. Learning information about the impending invasion from them. Cements the goal of the campaign. So I'm catching up here on what you guys are saying. Not going to pull the You're Not Afraid because you don't know any better card. Good fun. Tycho, I did reveal what the hat was because even Delcorn even said Google Foo had failed him. So it was revealed, Tycho. Now to finish up, we should have them, this is going to be the cue that they need to leave Aslandia for now and go elsewhere to remedy the situation. We have halflings that are from a different area. Humans are ubiquitous and all around. In fact, we can even have this be some kind of a seaside adventure, right? So they finish the concert and that's the milestone. And now when we pick up afterwards and they are... let's see, so we had 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there'll be 8 when they start. You're offering wild-based. Well, I don't know necessarily if that would be a challenge, Bubonic. I'm not saying that in a disparaging fashion, but at least as I'm interpreting it, it would be really easy to have wild classes be together. I don't know. I haven't heard of Pony Finder. Oh, and Tycho. There you go. I guess I'm not getting what the challenge is. The deeper tie, bubonic. I mean, because they can all be family. They can all have gone through a war together, or tying characters together. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Again, to my mental processing, I'm not seeing that as something like no big bad evil guy and no MacGuffin in a campaign, or let's make a functional party with a majority that are all the same class. It's basically Pathfinder is written by bronies. Oh, I don't know then. I do have bronies that come to my store, but I don't know how many of them role play. So I guess I haven't heard of that crossover. Episode 4. So they learn of this, and they and on the face of a loss, realize they must shore up their game in order to succeed and even hope to compete at the concert, let alone random venues. Let your players decide where they want to go next, but they need to leave Aslandia in order to explore. Leave destination open. Have a sea route planned. Pirate. Conflict on the high seas. And showcase the group's talent to sailors and passengers who will spread the word about them. Themes: combat, leadership. Now, this can also play in while we're doing this episodically. Something like this you can tie in with Eve, because ruthless pirates murdered her captain and crewmates, plundered her ship, and left her to die. Vengeance will be mine. Do we want to make them the same pirates? Does she just absolutely loathe all pirates? This could give her some sort of a spotlight in an episodic adventure if we really wanted to. Plunder loot, you have a link. Oh, is that a link to the system in the Discord? Okay. Role-playing the dangerous dance of the heathen gods. That's funny. And speaking of role-playing, that you're doing some good role-playing, Fnog. They serve the darkest sides of Dionysus and his love for cartoon ponies. Well, would it be Dionysus, or wait... Is Dionysus another name for Bacchus? Is this another Greek-Roman split? The motivation, Bobicus, is because there's this impending disaster, and they're having success. Right? They had their first big break, and that led them to be asked to go perform like a USO show. And they saw how much it meant to the injured people from the attack, and they wanted to do more, especially because their fame was growing. And while they had a private battle of the bands with this rival band, they still succeeded at cheering people up. And they saw that this was a great that this is a niche that could be filled. Maybe the rival band doesn't want to lift people's spirits. Maybe the rival band just wants to make money, or even wants to play on the fears of people. And so, you know, the music's popular, but it makes people anxious. It makes people nervous, or it makes them doubt their faith or something. And so we have our band who wants to go out and do the opposite and rally people because they saw what it meant for the survivors of the attack in the hospital and things like that. Okay, Dionysus and Bacchus are the same guy. Got it. Yeah, that's King. They're traveling in their wagon, it breaks down, and they happen to have a 20-minute mystery to solve. Bacchus is Roman, Dionysus is Greek. Got it. Oh, and by the way, hi, Silver. Now, does Dio Brando, is Dio Brando and Dionysus the same guy? Somehow I managed to trigger the Hey Siri feature on my phone. Annoying Siri. Plunder Willow's Game of Thrones character? How do you get a player to buy in for all this? What do you mean? If we're talking the meta theme of the game is we're playing a band, and you as a player know that I'm not going to pit you against the Lord of all evil who has a pet Draco Lich, and you got to throw the One Ring into Mount Doom. If you want like a fun episodic adventure of D&D, that's what we're playing to. Like you are coming along on the ride as a player with that as the knowledge. King gets it. Yeah, we made a band, Bobicus. Like, so, you know, we have our 4 bards and we have our other. And they're a band, and the ultimate goal of the campaign, we want to get the people of Mesotopia together in order to lift spirits and help repel this threat of invasion. Yes. Yep. So that they're agreeing to the concept. Maybe they want something a little lighter. It's still meaningful. You can still have combat, but it's not, I want to destroy the big bad evil guy, or I want to acquire or destroy a MacGuffin. This is, we're just taking it one milestone or episode at a time, and your battles are going to be with, you know, other musicians, or you're going to battle against circumstance, or against intolerance, or things about society. You may not need to go out and hunt dragons in this campaign. But so I'm presenting it this way because it's different than the campaigns that we've done before. So they're going to arrive in whatever location the players wanted, right? You put the map of Mesotopia out there and you say, pick someplace other than Aslandia. It's not going to matter, you know, for us as DMs. You know, if we're familiar with the campaign setting, it won't really matter. And it gives your players a little bit of agency in that sense, where they can go where they think they'll be most effective. This is a specific style that I'm presenting with a set of contexts supporting it, OP. How do I do it? I know that I want to accomplish about 3 things in the course of a campaign, and if those 3 things are done, then I'm happy. And my campaigns usually last about a year and a half. And we go from 1 to 20. Well, we went from 1 to 30 in 4th edition, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, Bobic's got it. They're trying to get off the planet and their spaceship broke. They have the power of rock and roll in a strange land. Also, Derek and Fanog, I am liking your RP back and forth. Oop, I murdered that word. So investigation, social interaction. You know, do you want to put sub-goals of meet NPC, you know, meet NPC X and learn of the plots of NPC Y? You can always add those notes as you're making milestones. But we're almost making an outline with a little bit more meat on the bones. Now, how will the social interaction go? I don't know. We're not plotting detailed campaign. Like, we're not going to write a 300-page book or whatever about the area and a campaign and go from there with full color illustrations. We're using guideposts, especially so we can allow the players to pursue things as they might in a more natural sense. As long as they're getting the thing that we want done, they hit their milestone, they'll level up, and things will continue. The Ring of Flare. Yes, every week we make a new campaign, and this campaign is based off of a party of 4 bards and a monk. They've formed a band, and we're having kind of it doesn't have to be a wacky episodic adventure, but this campaign is going to be more episodic, a little more lighthearted. It's not necessarily going to be combat heavy with dragons and zombies and liches and purple worms in the desert or anything like that. Learn of some kind of secret in the process, right? We want to keep the ball rolling. It could be a secret dungeon was uncovered, or you learn about some sort of political, maneuvering. Something, though, that would, as a DM, you would want to keep it in the scope of what a band would be interested in. But let's say, they hear a rumor that there was a mudslide and it uncovered a temple. And who knows what's in there? Well, the party needs financing. Maybe the reputation isn't as such that people are like, oh, it's the band, yeah, come and play for us, we're going to throw our coins and other things on stage. But this could be a job that they take, especially because they're outside of their own homelands. That was easy, right? Then we run them through whatever dungeon you want to make. Or if it's a job of some kind that too many sturges have been found in the trees and you need to go out and find a way to eliminate them. Or it could even be with a caveat of, oh yeah, eliminate them, we'll just burn down the trees. But you throw in a complication of some kind. So it's not just, go and cast fireball at the trees and you're going to get rid of the sturges. Or you say that you need to find a way, the job is to kill all the red sturges, but the blue ones are fine because those actually, they produce a valuable something from their saliva or whatever. But then we can now insert in our campaign a dungeon crawl of some kind, whether it's an outdoor dungeon or an indoor dungeon. King, thank you for the backup and the concept while I'm on my soapbox lecturing here. It was worth noting that if you're planning on making a campaign which de-emphasizes combat as much as this, you should strongly consider using a different RPG system than D&D. Why? D&D can still perform this function. Just make sure you ask to play a rogue and not a rogue. Death is actually a peppermint butler. What? I'm not sure how I'm getting that plunder loot. You've heard in the past, but I haven't tried it either way for myself, but when using gather information for players, it's extremely dependent on the group. In other words, rather than having the party go here to get information, you have the party go here to get information and then do X with that information. Well, yeah, you want to make sure that they're not just collecting it. That's naturally they're going to want to use that information, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're getting at, OP. Racial dominance in the jungle area. Oh, what is that referencing, Bubonic? From Adventure Time? Oh, I haven't really seen a lot of Adventure Time. I'm sorry. So that went over my head. What could be the conflict for this milestone / episode? Let's see. If we're going to now open it up to them that they can go shopping, for a little bit greater variety of things, because maybe they've made some money, they have some fame, they can get discounts, or just have access to more things. Maybe something important to them is stolen. Or broken. Oh, gotcha, OP. Yeah, you want to make sure that they do something with the information. So it'll be in the context of how are you framing this? If we're making this as an episodic adventure, and our hypothetical players realize that, hey, it's going to be one to the next, you drop them important bits. Either you can trust them to use that information, with the overarching goal, which, by the way, as a DM, if you write down on a piece of paper or something, you can just put a little sign up saying, like, goal, if you really want to, right? In order to help remind everyone that we're doing this, or we're playing in a certain way. And so I'm trying to stay in the context of how we've presented what we're doing here. But you are correct in that I experienced that too as a DM. I think I drop a huge plot bomb, and one of my players will pick it up and be like, oh, well, that's cool. What's next? And you're like, I don't want to tell you, but I want to tell you. Yeah. Yeah, Derek gives Swanog the etc., etc. Oh, Bubonic, we're talking about, that's, Uct. It was forest gnomes and humans, I think. These are silly creative exercises. I don't know. I'm scrolling through and seeing so many shaking heads and people. Oh, hey Shades, it's good to see you. No, Ivlon, and if you want to point out things, if you want to say, well, what about this, or to answer, questions, you're fine to. I don't take personal offense at it. These are ways to challenge our own conceptions of running a campaign. I have not run a campaign like this. Ooh, not a big one anyway. I've done a portion of a campaign like this before. But this is a thinking exercise for me too. But I want to throw these concepts out here, so it may not be how I run D&D, and it might not be how you run D&D. But what if this really resonates with OP, and OP says, "Wow, I've never thought about running a campaign like this before." I get what you're going for, and that inspires him, and he comes up with some awesome episodic campaigns instead of trying to, like, my personal campaigns. I write the epic fantasy novels. That's my trademark. In my games, I write the fantasy epic novels. That's bread and butter to me. But maybe for OP and how he processes information, the things that he likes, the way that he does things, could be different. I don't want to presume that all of you are thinking or playing D&D the same way. And so when we come up with these different ideas, it's meant to throw it out there. Either I'm challenging your conception, or, hey, in all fairness, look, I'm broadcasting publicly, and you've been very civil and kind, and you're responsive. I don't mind having you bring up one thought or another. There's nothing wrong with it. And let me catch up, because you all are you're bringing up points here. Yep, we are getting to that point, OP. That seed was planted for gaining followers here when we took them on the ship, and they helped save the ship. Because as it goes port to port over time, they're going to spread word, right? There's an attack, right? Because everyone's already talking about attacks and piracy and the Empire and all this. So in this point, the seed was planted whether they knew it or not. And now we can show a hint maybe here or really early in Arc 3 that it's starting to come to fruition. We don't really have a timetable for this. We could insert one if we wanted to. Too loosely and quickly? Well, I mean, because Ivalon, I can work a campaign to death. I can make an entire cast of NPC characters. I can stat out monsters. I can draw dungeons. But for what I do on the channel, it's meant to it's just meant to cause thought. It's meant to provoke thought in you, to share stories with other. It's meant to cause conversation, and it is meant to it is meant to unlock creative channels. Can this be done? Like, because there's the comment of nothing wrong with doing it in D&D. It could be played outside of D&D too. I'm not here to write a D&D campaign and publish it in a hardback novel form, or like a hardback book form complete with maps and all that. This is the map of our region, right? This is enough to hopefully spark imagination and to get you thinking about alternatives, fun and different ways to interact, or things like that. And you know what? I am glad that you're in here, Yvonne, and you know that you can speak up. And if you take issue with something, or if you want to say yes, but also consider this, you're welcome to do so. Bobicus, when it comes to a role-playing game, remember that there is a game aspect, not just a role-playing aspect, which is dependent on mechanics. Yes, though I don't think we've done anything that would violate the existence of mechanics. Yes, I do. Sorry, I'm getting behind. Ring of Flare. There you go, Ring of Flare. If you're throwing out 90% of the mechanics, why not 100%? Why not reinvent the system to better suit the game? Because we're not throwing out any mechanics at all, Bobicus. everything going on here is 100% D&D. So Shades, yes, good morning to you. A quick summary. We're making a campaign for our 5 characters that we generated. Ring of Flare. All you need to make maps is MS Paint. That's all you need. This is a map of a D&D world. You can get way more detailed. You can use pen and tea-soaked paper. You can use hexes as an overlay. You can use a grid as an overlay. You don't need more than something simple like MS Paint. OP, okay. De-emphasizing combat, no, not at all. Even if it's anecdotal, a lot of my campaign doesn't have fights. I only run fights if it is relevant to the story. And I know we've been over this, Bobicus. Like, I don't do random tables. I don't do that. If they're traveling across the land, I don't have a chance for a bandit to pop out or something. And I've been running D&D for years and years, and it has not been combat heavy. Combat is something you can do in D&D, but de-emphasizing it doesn't violate D&D. You can have a very skill heavy, very social heavy D&D campaign. It's not that difficult to do. Okay, Ring. I'll take a look at it here. Civil, that could be something that would make for a great chase scene. For like a milestone that's a chase scene of some kind. I agree. We can incorporate that in there. OP here. I'll put it in there. Someone saved Fanog for me. Okay, and I finally caught up. All right. There you go. So Bobicus of Ivalon, I totally understand what you're saying, and believe me, I'm not upset. I'm not bitter. I don't feel challenged or threatened. I get what you're saying. You have a different way to play and run D&D. You have different expectations of your DM or of your players, and this is a way that maybe you don't agree with, but this system, this train of thought, this is fully as I'm presenting this to you, I'm not drawing on anything else other than my own knowledge of Dungeons and Dragons, and at least how I know that I could get this to work at a tabletop. And if it's something that you don't like that style, that's fine, because not every campaign we make can satisfy everyone. We're here to challenge thoughts and conceptions. You all have challenged me, and I say that positively. You have taught me things, like new ways of thinking, some techniques that you all have used, and I hope to be able to inspire that in you too. That's the whole point of the channel. I'm definitely not up here to, just flaunt and say, well, I'm the best D&D DM ever, because that's a flat out lie. At least I'd be looking you in the face and lying to you. Well, Bobicus, there is combat in here. We've accounted for combat already in the campaign, and we haven't even finished with it yet. Scareman, you feel like there's better systems for non-combat games or less combat focused? There very well could be. But so look, if I'm your DM and I pitch you that this is the type of game I'd like to run, you just tell me no because you want to battle more monsters or you want to kick in doors and go in dungeons. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong at all. If that's your play style, if you want a combat every encounter, and I as a DM am saying, well, I can't promise you a combat every encounter. Thank you, by the way, for the YouTube subscription. I appreciate that. Thank you. But if remember the meta pitch. I am a DM, and I've told you that this is the type of game that I'm running. And so I would, I definitely want to keep that in mind here. But yeah, if you all want combat-heavy games, play combat-heavy games. In fact, I would even wager that there are even more combat-heavy games or tactical games in D&D. So keep the meta-knowledge of what we're doing. You can set it to the side, but make sure you're referencing to what we're producing up here. And you're right. Oh, hey, thank you, Ring. I appreciate that. And so yeah, if I had approached you and you said and I explained the concept of the campaign and you said yes, and I'm presenting it as we're manufacturing it here, together. Hopefully it's just not me lecturing. And you said, "Wow, I expected more combat." I would look at you completely baffled, and I'd say, "You wanted to play kind of a silly, more lighthearted campaign with a group of bards." And the entire point of the campaign is to earn fame and reputation in the area. You're not going to kill Strahd. You're not out to bring down an ancient temple of an arch-lich or kill the kraken that's swimming in the seas. We're here to do a light-hearted episodic adventure, and you signed up for it. So I don't know what you want. So you got to keep that meta knowledge in mind too. Dark Wolf, so you've had 3 combats, kind of, and have you been having fun, Dark Wolf? Even though it's not heavily combatant, it's anecdotal. I understand, for anyone out there, because it's Dark Wolf's opinion, and okay. So I'm trying to catch up here. I don't want to narrate everything because it'll. Ring of Flare. Send a picture. Okay. I'm not saying you want combat every counter. I'm just saying that they're. No, I'm not battling that, Scareman, but in the context that we've put out there, can we make a D&D game that's not combat centered? Ivlon, that's an interesting way of putting it. That's true. There is the game of D&D before and after initiative. I would agree with that. Okay, Ring, thank you for putting that up there. Eltran comes back. I'm on a second short rest, so are you guys going to play a one-shot with or add the background information for this band of bards into an existing or new game? So what? Well, we're having a discussion about what you can expect with a D&D campaign, Eltreon, and this is existing as its own thought process. This is existing as its own something to think about. Could you run this as a campaign? Very much so. Could you, you want to take it outside of D&D? You could. Could you make it more combat heavy? You could. But every week, what we do is there are emphasizes in thought, in creative thinking, in different ways to approach things. How can you find something different in what might be standard otherwise? So they come into new riches, they come into new fame, and they have this, and they find that some or most of their old stuff is gone in some way. Be careful with this as a DM, because taking or destroying your PC's items, depending on the attitude of your players, or can they keep in and out of game feelings well, or do they trust you as a DM that you may close the door but you'll open a window? Keep that in mind. Again, I can't emphasize enough, because we're having an awesome conversation over here about things to consider regarding the system. We're keeping a meta knowledge in mind about why this game is happening. Why would you even create 4 bards and a monk? Right? I mean, on its face, that sounds dumb. Though I would like to think that we've had fun, we've been creative, and now we're finding a way to take this idea and run with it. And how can we emphasize the things that this group can do? Scareman, yeah, and that's the meta knowledge, Scareman. I, as your DM, am pitching to you that I want you to form a band, and 4 of you have to be bards, and someone can be something else. And we're going to go on an adventure around our campaign region of Mesotopia, and the goal is, how can you raise your popularity? You can even throw it out there. That's not even like a spoiler for the. It's not even a spoiler for the adventure. How can you, as a group of bards and make a band, go around this area and raise popularity for yourself and see what happens along the way? And that is the consideration. You have accepted that invitation from me as your DM, and so I'm doing my best, and with your all's input too. This isn't a solo effort. I'm doing my best to put together a fun romp around Mesotopia that is built to these strengths, and to help, it's built to your strengths and to challenge your weaknesses in a constructive fashion. Oh, OP, you gotta lay in the dark and hallucinate for a few hours? Okay, hey, thanks for being a part of the conversation, OP. Sleep tight, don't let the vampires bite. That's true, Evelyn. That's it, only Derek's nighttime gig. Bobicus, I will disagree with your disagreement, but that doesn't mean that that either of us are right or wrong. I have personal experience running Bobicus, I have run entire, like, multiple D&D sessions where no one has rolled a dice. And if they did, it wasn't for combat or even for a direct roll a log out of the way of something. I've run entire sessions without one die being rolled, and everyone had a blast. It was fun. And you know what? If I'm the only person in the world who does that, I guess I'm an exception, and that's why I have unrealistic enthusiasm for something like this. I didn't realize that this is going to be an unpopular situation, but it can be done. I assure you. I super promise you, it can be done, and it can be done in a way that's fun for everyone. Fanog, yeah, if you want to send a whisper or something to me through Discord, you can do that. Yeah, so, Eltrion, here, I'll sum it up this way. In fact, hey, it's the weekend. Go over to Bob Ross's channel. That man has 26 minutes, 27, maybe 28 on a good day. He has 27 minutes to make a painting of a landscape. I assure you that man can paint a lot better than he can in 27 minutes. But he throws enough out there that you learn lessons about technique. You learn creative ways of approaching the things that you may want to illustrate. And the whole point is to get you practicing and thinking and to maybe introduce new ideas to you. So, if because you look at it, you're like, oh, that's kind of crappy. Well, yeah, he painted it in 27 minutes. And I assure you, he can paint, in a lot more detail and a lot better. And so, with what we're doing here, I'm trying to take a similar approach of stoking your imagination, of putting a concept out there, and I want you to poke and prod and pick it up and turn it and, bop it, twist it, go from there. And we keep it fresh, we keep it challenging, and we bring up our own experiences, or say, wow, that's cool, I want that, or oh, I don't really dig that. Okay, well, Derek and Ivlon, I appreciate it. Bob, because it is still a game. You don't need dice to have a contest of wills or thoughts. I will often, just through dialogue, challenge my PCs, and I don't need them to roll because I want them to be in their character. If they can convince me, or I'm waiting for them to invoke a clue that I've left them before, if they do, they won, and I don't even need a dice roll because it doesn't have to be arbitrary. It is still very much a game. It's a game of wits, a game of minds. And I'll tell you, one of my players is a strategist. He loves strategy games. He hates high luck games. And I find myself in a battle of wits with him quite often. And you know what? Sometimes he dupes me, and I'm the one telling the story. And I appreciate the challenge. You can still very much have a game and have absolutely no rolls that are needed. It's still a challenge. It's a contest, and there's a winner and a loser, so to speak. Why are you all messaging Shadzar? Like, Shadzar, who's messaging you? I've not instructed anyone to message you about anything. Am I missing something on the Discord, or is this spilling over into a community event of some kind? I don't see anything here. And you know what, Shadzar? If you think I'm doing it wrong, report me to Twitch. If you don't think that I'm compelling, I'm adding to anything, I'm talking to you right now. Man to man, eye to eye, Shadzar. Report me to Twitch for violating Twitch terms, okay? If you think you're beating your head against, if I'm being on an obtuse brick wall or something, do it. All right? If D&D to you is just sitting down and streaming Roll20, Shadzar, you're right. I'm not doing that. I'm confessing to you all out there, okay? I am not streaming Roll20. So clearly this cannot be D&D. Clearly this has no place on Dungeons and Dragons, despite us talking about the system, compelling storytelling, creating characters, looking up the source books. Apparently this has nothing to do with D&D. So you know what, Shadzar? Report me, okay? And you know what? I'll tell you, while I'm upset at that comment, if any of you out there are harassing Shadzar, please stop. Whether or not you agree with his opinion, I don't know if any of you are. I'm going off of what he's saying, but don't harass him. If he doesn't want messages, don't send him messages. Shadzar, if you don't want to be in the Discord, leave the Discord. If you want to report me to Twitch for false advertising, then do so, okay? And Dark Initiative, by the way, if you do that, you're very talented and I appreciate it. You sing Eye of the Tiger while playing a fiddle with your hands and piano with your feet. Me? I just have a didgeridoo. And unfortunately it's split and it doesn't really play anymore. And that's a shame. Especially right there. No, Raven, I'm not going to block him. He voiced an opinion, and you know what? He stayed within the guidelines I asked. I asked that you be civil. I ask that you keep things PG-13. And if he doesn't like who I am or what I do, he's not being a troll about it. And you know what? It is a problem. I don't know if anyone out there is messaging him on Discord. If not, and he's made it clear don't talk to him, don't talk to him. If he doesn't want to be a part of, amateur novel writing hour, then that's fine. This is a free, well, mostly it's mostly a free and open internet, right? If he doesn't like it, he's free to do so. You're much less comfortable having this conversation after learning that I may have been picking at a wound. I don't get what you're talking about, Bobicus. Have you been messaging Shadzar? Yeah, well, Dalcorn, if you find it, let me know. Share the link, please. I'd love to see Eye of the Tiger and the Hurdy-Gurdy. The didgeridoo is not D&D sanctioned. Storytelling gear triggered, says Caden. Funny, no, the band still needs a name. Darkwolf threw a couple, and I'm sorry, Darkwolf, they kind of got lost in the tide. But the band does need a name. Delcorn, the cutting inspirations. There is a lot of swordplay, isn't it? And that's that. Of course, that's a take on the that is a take on the bard ability, isn't it? All right, I'll take a look at that private message that you sent over. All right, well, you know what? Ring, nothing happened between me and Shadzar. It's not a feud. He is upset about his own reasons, and he's welcome to. I can't broadcast what everyone wants to see, and he has certain expectations, and I'm not meeting them, and he was very upset by that. I don't know what to do. I've not been impolite. I haven't been not respectful. So I mean that's not really a. Sorry, I'm catching back up again. Civil says, when I browse D&D, I typically look for design streams first, character otherwise. I would hate to scroll through all the creative hoping to find a cast like this one. Well, thank you, Civil. And you know what? And I mean, I say thank you because that's a compliment. If you all like Ivalon, you were making good points earlier. And Bobicus, I know you said they were arguing over semantics. That's perfectly fine. It's been all civil discussion. It has been what we are hoping to achieve, because we all have different life experiences. We all have different expectations. Can we challenge each other to think in different ways? And you know what? At the end of the day, Bobicus, you may say, look, I get what you're saying, Matt, and I just can't play D&D that way. Well, I tip my Poochu hat to you, brother. You allowed me the time to get in front of you. You allowed me the time to the time to stand on a soapbox at times, and you even tolerated when I brought up stuff that you're like, oh, this guy. Who is this guy? He's wearing a silly hat. He's wearing a Star Wars shirt, whatever. But you still did that, and every time I broadcast here for you all, I keep that in mind. You could be at any other channel right now, D&D or otherwise. Heck, you could even not even be on Twitch. You could be on YouTube. You could be on Wikipedia. You could be playing a game. Here you are. However many of you are up there, right? I of course love to see when there's more of us who are here. Each of you, for your own reasons, are here, and I respect that as much as I can. I really do hope that shows through. In Shadzar's case, apparently not. And that's fine. If he took himself and his business elsewhere, he has every right to do so. All right, so we have cutting inspirations, cutting words. The D&Ders. What would that stand for, Shades? What would the D&Ders stand for? Oh, cutting words and bardic inspiration combined? Well, Bobicus, I understand that concern. I don't think you've been making the argument for a pure form of D&D, though. So I'm not upset. I'm not upset. I'm not even upset at Shadzar. I mean, not truly. That definitely, it got my cheeks red, but I have other things to do than worry about. If he doesn't think I'm broadcasting the right way on Twitch, he can report me. Any of if you think that I'm not putting on that up there, go ahead, because and tell me too. So we're still spinning through space on a big blue marble. Tomorrow will come. And I still, by the way, for you all, I still submitted a video to promote this channel for the affiliate anniversary, and I included some clips of us having a great time. And, I even really tried to straddle that line, because the contest entry, if you read it on our Discord, you know, I posted it, and of course, you know, it's Twitch. I respect this. They want to flout the affiliate program. They want to put it out there and showcase it. And for the accompanying videos, they wanted me to feature bit wars, subscription trains, and things like that. Which, yes, that does reflect on if I'm doing a good enough job, then hopefully that will occur. If you want to be negative, you could say, look, they just want me to show off that, you know, all the money you could spend on me. And so when I submitted those clips, you can even look at the clips to back up if I'm wrong or not. I tried to choose clips that were community, maybe even quasi roleplay supported, in that it did occur over a subscription and it did occur over a bit war. In fact, it's the one where Spicy Larry goes down. But I did it in a way that I'm including that it's us as a community doing it, not that it's the focus of making money. Scareman is saying that guacamole is delicious, and for Delcorin, if he hasn't said it already, them's fighting words, huh? Oh, no, even you prompted it. Go get a drink and some guacamole. I think I will here soon. Funny says, so far here I haven't found any community like this one. We have the guacs and the non-guacs in here. Yeah, to each his own. Yep, bubonic is not in the avocado, the Illuminati of the avocados. Ring of Flare, oh, thank you. This is a Poochu hat, and Poochus are from the anime Excel Saga. The avocado watches all. Delcorn is being a scrub and playing Minecraft. Instead of devoting every single moment of attention to me, as I don't run D&D. Oh, thank you, Raven. Yeah, down with Funny. Oh no, Funny Man, you have been usurped by Raven, who I believe is who you took that from originally. Ultron, I get you guys. This stream has gotten me to take another look at my character and rethink the choices I made in creation. Not in that I should have reconsidered, but in a way that makes me wonder how I can make the best of... Ooh. And Delcorin with the non-committal one. Shades hopes that I don't turn into a big channel because then you won't be able to have these small conversations. D&Ders means any ideas? I don't actually really have an idea. Well, you know what, Shades? I'm going to grow as I'm going to grow. You all out there are very important to me. And Shads are. And you know what? For the people who've come in and have been deliberate trolls, I'm talking people whose names you're like, okay, I got it. I know why you're here. You know, I want to treat you all with the same respect and the same forward, you know, the forwardness of and you know, treat you as an equal at the table. And no matter how big this gets, I want to keep that conversation going as best as I can. And as the channel does grow, you know, as the channel grows, we'll adapt. I still want to keep it conversational. I'm still here to you know, to talk to all of you. That's the primary thing. Focusing on that. This is fun. I like doing this. This is what's important right here. I'm kind of like a weatherman. I have to check myself on the monitor. Bubonic says down with the guac. You did have some bit wars. You did, but I wasn't going to do it for the sake of, yes, everyone shower me with bits. That's not... that. I appreciate the bits, and I sincerely super-de-duper do for the submission of our channel in order to keep the spirit of what we're doing here. I did it in such a way that it was a community support and not just a make it rain. Raven is a member of the Avocado, and I will prove it eventually. Oh, and Raven's throwing in an... just got my own purposes. The non-committal one. Caden, there would be a problem if I say I was exploiting loopholes like some of the boob streamers. Well, I do have magnificent lady lumps, although I will not be exploiting any loopholes with them. Funny man, just you wait for my next paycheck. Curse you. Shakes. Oh, oh, that's right. Delcorn is Funny Man's Thane. You better watch out for that smiling edge. Shades goes into a dungeon. Do I owe you some EXP for that? Disadvantage 6+2. No. Falling rock squishes. Funny man goes into the Underdark. Ooh, a Durgar Slaver hops out. 17 or greater with a normal roll. And you roll a 17. I owe some EXP to Funny Man. Caden, Ravenstar, did I ever tell you why they called me Tornado? I look forward to that story. Maybe you've already said it below. Shades going to random planes. Okay. Beerbarian, I have been enjoying the stream and discussions here, even though I've just been lurking. No, so Barbarian, as I playfully call out Delcorin and whatnot, it's perfectly fine. If you're in here, if you're enjoying it even audibly, that's part of the presentation. Look, I don't have a 4K thing streaming at 120 FPS or whatever. I have MS Paint, I have PDFs, and I have Open Office. Hopefully you're just enjoying the sound of what's going on, and as I'm trying to convey chat through commentary also, part of it is me trying to reach you, not to have you that you have to be an active, engaged viewer, but you can come along the ride for a live, like a talk show broadcast. But thank you for saying that, Barbarian. I really appreciate that sentiment. Shades goes into the plains, a null pack pops out, and rolls an 8, plus 1 is 9. Shades does defeat the nulls. Make it rain. How is that not an emote, right? BRB Puppy wants out, says Raven. When I was in college, I got so hammered on St. Patty's Day. Managed to find my way back to the dorm, and on the 3rd floor where my friends were, I managed to win a game of strip poker. I also took one of my friend's entire Star Wars collections because I started to play with them. Oh, jeez. All right, there's a origin story for Caden. Funny Man goes into the tomb. Centipede Swarm comes out, and do you get it? 3 and 7. No, unfortunately not. Fanog says his stream gets bigger, which I think it will. Have you thought about automating the adventures? Yes, Fanog, that is something that I do need to do. That's it. Leave, get food, command word, eat. I do need to do that, Derek, and I will be doing that. 1 second here. Ring goes on the plains adventure. Lion pops out. So Ring of Flare. Oh, okay, you got a 2d20, 14 and 7. You have disadvantage. 7 plus 1 is 8. Oh no, the lion got you. Caden, some of the boob streamers were streaming IRL so that they are visible to a larger audience. The boob to gameplay ratio is off. For every 2 minutes of gameplay, there's 20 minutes of boobs. I really just wanted to watch Stickman Goes to Camp that one time. Oh, all right, Shades, are you taking off? Well, thank you for popping in and leaving your comments, and hopefully you had some fun on the adventures. Sunday night and Monday night, I do not broadcast because that is when I run my personal D&D game, and I play in a Mage the Awakening 2nd edition game. So tonight is the last night until Tuesday evening. Ring of Flare goes through a roleplay prompt of who goes there. Oh, Perugia, is that you? It responds, Carl Smile, what do you do? Well, I don't know. Perugia, are you the type of person who'd give a thoughtful smile? I don't know. I'd say so. You're a pretty happy-go-lucky person. Funny man, I honestly just love the conversation between experienced DMs and the views and the others of newbies getting tips, philosophical views, and just general discussion. Well, it may not be D&D, but I will hope to continue to broadcast that to you, funny man. Yep, Sunday and Monday I take off. I may sneak on after the session, but I'll do something like play Diablo 3. So it's not like I spent my thinky points already, and I just want to click on things and make them stop moving. So I might do a bonus stream of Diablo 3. You know, if you have me followed, you should get a notification. I might also post something in Discord. Stream gets large enough, it's pretty much impossible. I was more curious about that. Yes, there is some future proofing that I need to do. And Perugia smiles at you as he probably steps out of the way of the attack. Started getting banned for it because too many of them were streaming to larger channels like Fortnite, where you have 109,000 people watching, and they'd sit at the load screen. Yeah. So, Fanog, look, before I do take my break, and especially before Derek compels me with, he's probably a venturer at heart. Let's face it, and he has the discipline to compel this to happen. I do need to get up and take a watering break, you know, just to get a cool cup of water. Because of the conversations we have here, your all's interest in role-playing and storytelling and Dungeons and Dragons, the channel has grown very quickly, and as much as I can, I try and keep up. Right now, it's a solo adventure. Doesn't have to be there, and there are some things that I'm trying to work on to make sure that for those of you who I'm very grateful you have subscribed to the channel, that you will be getting an emote hopefully sooner than later. And as more of you are in chat and you're talking and sharing, I can automate some of the fun adventure bots because you like that idea, and I'm happy to entertain that. Ring of Flares going after Bobicus. I do agree, Bobicus. I would want to keep it in that theme. Yep. Tea break is in order, Delcorin. All right, so I'm going to go take. I'm going to take a 10-minute break at least. I think it's too late to go out to Taco Bell. I have one really close to me, but I think they're going to close in 15 minutes. I'm going to get up. I'm going to stretch. Going to get some cold water, think a little bit. And so I will not be around for about 10 minutes to give you points on adventures. So I would ask, please do not go on adventures while I'm AFK. You can still duel, and you can still battle to your heart's content, but at least wait until I'm back before I can start doing adventure stuff, okay? Yep. No problem, Fnog. Hey, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I know, Delcorn, I love it too, but I just don't think it's going to happen tonight. Yeah, DM hacks for sure. Okay, well, yeah, you all duke it out. I will be back in about 10 minutes, okay? Thank you for letting me hop on a soapbox in front of you all. Okay, I am back. Thank you all for waiting. I refreshed myself with a little water. I didn't get anything to eat, but that's fine. That is fine for now. I'm catching up on Discord here real quick. I see Plunder Loot's link to Pony Finder. Okay, so if you all have an interest in that, hey, take a look at it. There are all kinds of RP systems. I see Full Moons, Black Mage. What else do we have going on here? Evelyn has joined us on Discord. Thank you. Full Moon also posted a story. And I see that Caden left a little bit of a gift in the Discord too. What do we have? Sorry, now I'm looking back over in your all's chat after I left my. I'll be back soon. EXP checks, battles. Delcorin explicitly defied my. Never mind. He went into a dungeon. Did he win? Did he win? Actually, hey, I gotta come live. There we go. Did Delcorin win? +2 modifier, rolls 9 and a 19. Ooh, he lost. Okay. Cooldown strikes again. No, there's not 40-20. So, Kane, I appreciate the humor there, but I think that's a little too cheeky for the channel. All right, so let's do this. I could do a 46 bubonic if you want one. Ring of Flare, no problem. Yeah, so with the point that I was trying to make Flare when I was looking at your character too, it sounds like you're talking to Derek. If you have it explicitly like that stated in your personality and your background, that is a really, it's not necessarily creepy, it just makes your character very directly that. And so if you would rather build suspense or horror or something, you have to be a lot more subtle, in my opinion. Bubonic's dog wants attention. Raven's going into the dungeon. Poison dart. But, oh, you managed to get out of the way. Raven does a dramatic roll. And 300 EXP is yours. Oh, and Derek, thank you for checking. I'm a little bit more cooled off, but I'm still here. You know, I'm still here. I know, Del. I'm sure there's a way for that. There's a backlog of things. I do not want you all to continue making recommendations of things you'd like to see. I'm not stating that as such. But I do want to make sure that, you know, I can get things done in due time. And Ring of Flare.